It is 6:01. So I think we'll go ahead and get started, just to be conscious of everyone's time. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight, whether you're here in person or online. We appreciate you taking the time to stop by and learn more about our project. Today we're going to be talking about the Village Red Carpet Broadband project. And see if I can get my slides to work here. Oh. The computer won't let me get started, so we'll just wait a minute. Start with some introductions and then go through the summary of the project scope and the benefits, review the project costs and the potential tax impacts, and then the next steps and some additional project details, and then we'll have some time for questions. So starting with introductions, my name is Megan Sawyer. I'm the village administrator for the Village Red Harbor. Madison Beatson is our village deputy administrator. She's joining us virtually tonight. Lynn Owensworth is our clerk treasurer. Jessica Hatch is the York County Broadband coordinator. She's here with us in the audience. And then we have our contract negotiation ad hoc committee members that have done the bulk of the work on this project. Jean Cussert, got the pronunciation right tonight, is here with us in person, and then Brad Kaler is online, and Joe Megan is online as well. Also like to take some time to introduce our village board of trustees. John Heller is our village president. He's right here in the front row. Joe Megan is one of our committee members and one of our village trustees. Lisa Van Land is a village trustee. I know I saw her online before we got started, and then Angela Lynch and Cameron Miller also are village trustees on our village board. So I just want to start off by talking a little bit about what fiber to the premises is and how it's different than your current service. So fiber to the premises is a type of broadband internet that uses fiber optic cables to transmit data to your home or business. This broadband internet delivers high-speed service, which is more reliable than other internet technologies like copper cables or wireless technologies. And how it's different from the current service that is available in the village is that compared to those other technologies available, DSL, fixed wireless, satellite, cellular, etc., fiber internet is faster, more reliable, and easier to maintain than those other options. Going into the benefits of fiber broadband, there's two things I want to focus on here. One being the societal impact with the COVID-19 pandemic that we all lived through a few years ago. It was a perfect example of the negative impacts that a lack of reliable broadband service has on a community. Many individuals were asked to work from home. Children were asked to attend school remotely, and it was, for a lot of us, the only way we were able to communicate and stay in contact with our family members. So those of us that didn't have that as an option, suffered a little bit more than those that did have available broadband internet. And according to a UW study, access to high-speed internet is associated with faster rates of population growth, higher levels of education attainment, higher third-grade reading scores, and lower levels of both percent of population reporting poor or fair health, and the number of poor or mental health days reported. So in Wisconsin, there is a clear relationship between access to broadband and economic performance overall for the community well-being. Speaking a little bit more about the economic impact, according to another UW study, more rural areas within the U.S. find that access to broadband is important in attracting new businesses, fostering entrepreneurship, enhancing farm profits, and even increasing the value of rural housing. So it's clear from the academic research that's out there that access to internet and broadband in particular is no longer a luxury, but really something that is a necessity and a condition for regional economic growth and development. And because of those benefits, many of our neighboring communities in York County have considered broadband projects as well. The map here does demonstrate where some of our neighboring communities are at in terms of their projects. So you'll see here the map is color coded. Green are is the identifier for municipalities that have already completed projects and may have home connections for fiber broadband. Yellow are municipalities that have construction underway. Red are municipalities that are in engineering and design work phase. And then white are either municipalities that are waiting on grant funding or waiting to make a partnership with an internet service provider. And about half of the Door County communities overall already have projects that are in the works. All right, now I just want to take a little bit of time to talk about the existing broadband service that's available in the village. Most recently, the standard for broadband has increased. Typically, in the past, an acceptable internet service was a 25 download, 3 upload megabytes per second internet speed. As of recently, what is now considered standard or adequate service is 100 down and 20 up. So that is the new benchmark that is utilized in order to verify what is considered unserved or underserved per the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Grant Program that a lot of different municipalities are taking advantage of. So I just wanted to take a moment to talk about the map here. So the map on the right-hand side talks about the percent of population with access to that 25 down, 3 up speed internet. And the map on the left has access to the 100 down, 20 up. So as you can see, given the old standard of 25.3, Door County is considered served, but under that new standard, it is not. And there is a large challenge, even nationwide, but specifically in Door County, in terms of what service is available, given the transparency in terms of reporting by internet service providers. And therefore, a local county survey was deployed back in 2022 in order to collect more information on the available service in the county and in the village specifically. So we did push our community members to participate in that survey. And as of July 2024, we had 169 respondents. That represents about a 27% response rate, with 44% of respondents considered or identifying themselves as unserved with no service available to them at all. 43% were in the underserved category, and 13% of respondents indicated that they had adequate service. Now I want to take some time to talk about our project progress to date. So in Q1 of 2023, that was really the initial deployment of this project, and that was initiated by John Elmer, village president, and the board of trustees, by starting a broadband committee, which was a group of committee members that started to explore the opportunity we had here to embark on this project. The committee was formed and we issued an initial project request for proposals. In Q3 of 2023, in response to those requests for proposals, we started negotiations with Frontier Communications as our initial ISP partner. And unfortunately, as of Q1 of 2024, we agreed to end those negotiations with Frontier. And the committee at that time decided to reissue the RFP. And as of Q3 of 2024, we have selected AT&T as our new ISP partner, and we did begin contract negotiations. Now, sitting in Q1 of 2025, we are at the point in time when we are ready to sign the contract. However, prior to doing so, we wanted to bring this project to the committee's attention, bring everyone up to speed on where we're at. And the village board will be considering our contract with AT&T at their meeting next Wednesday, March 12th. In terms of making the selection of AT&T, upon issuing the project request for proposals back in April 24, the village received RFP responses from 2 companies, one being AT&T and the other being Broadband Communications. The committee weighed each response using a number of criteria, which included project costs and the required village contribution, the proposed solution, company background, qualifications, and capabilities. And ultimately, the committee did select AT&T as our RSP partner. AT&T received an average criteria rating of 96 over virtually 75, and those criteria ratings were out of 100. And the committee scored AT&T higher in the areas of project costs and village contribution, strength of the company, and the solution reliability. All right, in terms of who's going to be served by this project, all village property addresses that were defined as of April 2024, when we launched that request for proposals, are included in the fiber deployment listing in the project contract. If your property was developed after April 2024, that doesn't mean that you're not included in the deployment. Just means that we ask that you reach out to us and we can double check to make sure that your area will be serviced. And then property owners will choose when and if they would like to subscribe, and there are no term commitments required. So this project will be deployed. It will bring fiber as an option to every community member, every property owner, but it is up to you to decide if you would like to sign up for the AT&T service. And in terms of what that service looks like and what AT&T is offering, I'm going to pass it over to Joe Megan, our community member, and he's going to go through the next few slides for us.
Thanks, Megan. Good evening, everybody. So let's talk about what AT&T's offering is more specifically. And as you can see from the left-hand columns, they offer 4 different tiered services based upon the megabit speed, download and upload speed. So there's a 100 upload and download access from AT&T service for $30 a month. To qualify for that tier, which they call access from AT&T, you have to be an eligible household which has an income component to it, which is 200% of the federal poverty level or less. So if your household income is at that level or less, you would qualify for that lower cost service. And then there's three other tiers, as you see there, 300/300 for $55 a month, all the way up to 1,000 download and upload, otherwise known as 1 gigabyte, for $80 a month. So that's all well and good, but how does that compare to current offerings, I think is the most relevant sort of question that you might have. So we took a look at 4 different companies in the community today and what they charge and what their speeds are, what the nature of their service is. So, and we're benchmarking this against the AT&T 300 download and upload megabit service because that's significantly better than each of these competitors. So as you can see, Door County Broadband is offering 25 and 10, Frontier 18 and 1, and then it gets better with Charter Spectrum and Viasat. So as we look at the monthly rate, again, for the 300 and 300 service with AT&T, it's $55 a month. So that compares to $70 for Door County Broadband, which would save you as a consumer $15 a month or $180 a year. And you see how the comparisons move from there with other services that are a little or a lot more expensive. So that's kind of the financial comparison of the proposed new service to the existing services. We move then to a little bit more about AT&T's offering on the next slide. So installation. So the project that we're engaging with AT&T involves them running fiber up and down all the public roads within the village of Egg Harbor. They are also running that fiber along private roads where there are multiple dwelling units, or better known as condominium developments. So communities like the Hill at Ames Farm, Anchorage Cove, Ridgewood, Fox Point, Meadow Ridge, Rocky Shores, Harbor Vista, Harbor Bluff. In those communities where you have multiple homes, like 20, and in those examples, it's 20 to 80 different residences, they're going to lay fiber in those private roads to, along the homes and the buildings in those condominium communities. Where we get into this 1,000-foot sort of allowance is if there's an individual home and and you're 1,000 feet from the curb of the public road, then, there'd be a conversation on if you're, I should say, if you're more than 1,000 feet from the public road, curbside or area at the end of your driveway, then there'd be a conversation with AT&T about cost. So we hope and expect that that's going to be a very rare instance. With respect to the equipment associated with the installation, all interested parties will get a Wi-Fi gateway modem at no cost. And then if you go through the self-installation process, there'd be no charge. Or if you want a tech to come out and install the fiber to your home, that would be a cost of $99. Included in their service, they also have a security offering that provides site blocking on malicious sites and suspicious data transmissions and some other security features. And they have an array of customer support and education services, including a 24/7 support line, mobile app. You can go to their store in Sturgeon Bay if you want to talk to someone in person. And they also have an education program to help manage the digital transition. They offer a vacation hold, which would be of interest to our seasonal residents. It's $7 a month, and they ask that you do that for a minimum of 2 months and up to a maximum of 9 months. Next slide. So let's talk about the project costs. So the village is going to need to pay $2,163,000 for all this fiber to get laid. AT&T is telling us their total project cost is $3,698,000 some thousand. So they are absorbing $1,535,000. So the difference between those first two numbers is what they're absorbing. Our portion of the cost will be diminished slightly by a county grant award of $15,225, and we'll take it. Every dollar counts. We are also planning to pursue with AT&T a BEAD grant. BEAD stands for Broadband Equity Access and Deployment. So AT&T would actually submit that application for us with our collaboration. And we don't know until we get into it, our chance of success, and if we are successful, what that amount would be. But any success on that or any other grant would diminish the village portion of the cost. But if we assume the cost as stated in this slide, the property tax impact, because we're going to have to borrow that $2 million, property tax impact is 26 cents per thousand of property valuation, or $26 per 100,000. So this table shows what the borrowing cost, or what the property tax impact would be associated with the borrowing for this project over time. So it does diminish over time, but our initial year of 2026 payment and property tax impact would be $26 per 100,000 of evaluation. So that translates to $106 per $400,000 home valuation. And again, it does diminish over time because of the way the borrowing would work with these treasury bonds that will be issued over time. Okay, I think we're ready for the next slide. So now let's put together the savings opportunity that we talked about a couple of slides back with the property tax impact. So as we said, there's a 26-cent effective rate per thousand of valuation, or $26 per 100,000. That's based upon our initial loan payment of our annual loan payment, I should say, of 194,603, and that being spread across the universe of the village's real estate valuation of over 700 million. So it depends upon, your particular home's valuation. So you can see in this table on the left, we have different values of parcels, as we're calling them here. So for a $100,000 parcel, again, your annual tax levy is $26. And we also thought it would be helpful for you to know that 29% of all the parcels in the village are in that category of 100,000 or less. And then between 100,000 and 200,000, there's another 8% of the village's parcels. The annual tax levy there would be $52, and so forth. So this table on the right then combines the annual tax levy based upon home valuation with the savings we talked about earlier, specific to the four carriers that we used or we illustrated previously. So for example, if you have a $400,000 home and you use Door County Broadband, your net impact would be a savings of $74. If you had a $500,000 home and you use Charter Spectrum, your savings, this is annually, would be $170. So that's the combination of the savings between your on your bill for internet service minus the property tax impact. So all the cells that are shaded in green are illustrations of providers and home values where the homeowner would come out ahead. Even after the property tax impact, we do have a couple of instances with Door County Broadband in homes of 700,000 or more where it is more expensive on a net basis. All right, I think we're ready to move to the next slide.
And could I interject again, like I did at the earlier meeting today?
Sure, Brad.
One thing that we don't do here is weight any of the savings based on bandwidth. So if you're, for example, if you've got Door County Broadband and you're only getting 20 megabits per second, but you transition to AT&T fiber and you're getting 300 megabits per second. We don't account for that in here, but you'll be able to do a lot more with your internet service if you make that move.
So it's really a win-win. You're winning financially and you're winning from a service standpoint. It's a much better service too. And thanks for pointing that out, Brad. Okay, next slide. Megan, I'll turn it over back to you.
Yes, thank you, Phil and Brad. I appreciate that. Okay, so talking about next steps in terms of where we go from here. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a village board meeting next Wednesday, March 12th at 8 a.m. That's our standard board day meeting time. And the village board will be discussing the public feedback that we received from our meeting this afternoon and then this evening. And then they will be reviewing the contract negotiation ad hoc committee recommendation and considering action on the AT&T contract. If they choose to make the approval of the AT&T contract at that meeting, AT&T will then begin exploring the opportunity for grant funding, as Joe had mentioned. We are going to look into possible funding through the BEAD program, and then AT&T will also start their design process, and the whole process, start to finish, from design to final construction, is projected to take approximately 2 years. There is an opportunity for things to move quicker than that, but given the our agreement with AT&T and how we have it laid out right now, we are expecting the entire time to take 2 years. I do want to point out that it doesn't mean that everyone in the village will wait 2 years for service. As AT&T does their installation and starts turning up their system, they will offer service to those that it becomes available to along the construction route. So it's not 2 years for everyone from the start of this. There will be folks that are able to get service faster than that as construction continues. And then if, in the event that we sign on with AT&T in terms of getting more information out to you and how you sign up for service, if you would choose to do so, we do expect to have future public meetings with AT&T regarding service sign up and construction timelines once we have a contract executed. There was a gentleman at our 2 o'clock meeting today, represents the town of Egg Harbor, who is currently under, not construction quite yet, or are they constructing?
They are constructing.
Okay.
He did say connections would probably be starting like May and June in certain
Okay.
areas this year.
Okay. Yeah, so they're starting construction, and he said that there's a number of ways that AT&T reached out to their potential customers via letters, door hangers, other types of media outlets that they've made connections with. So definitely more information to come in the event that this project continues. Also, I did mention a survey that we deployed in partnership with the county back in 2022. And that survey is still available if you haven't had a chance to take it and you would like to. I have it linked right here on this slide. That link will bring you right to the survey, and the slide deck will be available on the village webpage tomorrow, so you don't have to go far to find it. If you would like to participate, it does have a speed test that allows you to see what kind of speed you have available today, and then also answer some questions just about your service in general. And the data from that survey is utilized for our grant application purposes, so we would appreciate it if you would take some time to complete the survey if you haven't done so already. I'm going to skip ahead a couple of slides here and then we'll get into the questions, but I just mentioned briefly that the project webpage will be updated tomorrow. We'll have tonight's presentation and this afternoon's presentation, recordings of both of those available. So if you wanted to catch the afternoon presentation and just see different questions that were asked at that meeting, you're welcome to do so. And then we also have the slide deck that I shared available on the webpage as well. So villageredharbor.gov/broadband is where you would like to go, and all that information will be available to you. And with that, then we will move on to questions. Those that are participating virtually, there is a participant labeled Village Red Harbor in all caps. That is who you would like to write your questions to. Otherwise, you can use the raise hand feature to be called on. And then if you have a thought or comment after today, after we leave tonight that you'd like to share, my email and Joe Needy's email are both on the bottom. You can find them on the village website as well. And any correspondence that you send, questions or comments that you'd like us to share with the village board, we will definitely do so in advance of their meeting or at their meeting on Wednesday. So with that, I will ask if we have any questions. Yeah.
Is this going to be all buried if you currently have underground service?
Yeah, good question. So the question was, just for those joining us online, make sure we heard if the service will be buried, and what the plan is that the infrastructure will be installed as it is. So if you are in a development that has buried utilities, it will be buried. If you're in a developer, if you're in an area that's burial, it will be installed aerially.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can just add too, I don't know if you're from condominium developments like I am, but AT&T will have a discussion with your association as to how you want the fiber deployed in your development.
Yeah, I'm on the board of directors for the orchards.
Because we're in Anchorage Cove and everything is buried.
That's right, yeah, it is
Want
true. It is up
everything to be
here
buried.
in orchard too.
Any other questions in person? Yeah.
I might,
Go ahead, Fred.
I was going to say, I might just add that just because a neighborhood has aerial infrastructure right now, doesn't necessarily mean that AT&T's infrastructure, AT&T's fiber will go up on those utility poles. It might be buried. It might not. But On the other hand, as you know, as Megan pointed out, if you already have buried utilities, they're not going to come in and put in utility poles. That question came up this afternoon. I was glad that actually someone from my condo development asked that question.
And same would be the case on our village roadways too, Church Street, County G, the highway, we wouldn't have new utility poles going in there. You have a question?
Yes, could you clarify the availability specific to whether it's Village of Egg Harbor or Town of Egg Harbor?
Sure, so the town of Egg Harbor has also signed a contract and completely independent contract from the Village of Egg Harbor with, but also with AT&T, and they're currently under deployment of that project. What's your address if you don't mind me asking?
We're in the Bluff, Cherry Bluff Estates.
Okay, so that would be the town.
Right.
Town of Egg Harbor.
We're like Berlin there, we're surrounded by everybody else.
Yeah. So they have, and the town's project is actually, what does that say, about 15 months
About 15 months.
ahead of where we are?
Yeah, ahead of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I should probably call Pam up and ask her about it.
Yeah, definitely. Pam's your girl, yes. And I'm sure she'll have Pam or Scott Davis was the gentleman that was with us this afternoon.
You don't have to ask, because if somebody from our board is on here, then
Imagine the availability is, it's gonna be the same, similar, so,
For speeds and prices, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
One other question.
Yeah.
What was the stated reason for discontinuing talks with Frontier?
There was a few reasons, mostly, just the contract terms changed in the middle of our discussions and the village was no longer comfortable with those terms.
Okay.
I'm just gonna walk over to my computer here because we have a couple systems running. I don't want to miss anyone. Doesn't look like I have any virtual questions on my end. Madison, do you have any to share?
I did have one question. I did answer it. It was regarding Bay Vista Road, if that was included in the project. And after doing a little bit of research, it looks like that has, that's in the town, in which you guys have answered that the town is about 15 months ahead of our project. And they are contracted with AT&T as well.
Yep, so definitely reach out to the town office. I don't know if they have a dedicated webpage, I would assume probably.
I think the link maybe.
Okay,
Awesome.
okay, so I don't wanna say there, it's probably town of Egg Harbor.org, or if you Google town of Egg Harbor, Wisconsin, it'll come up. But Pam Kroll is the town clerk, so anyone in the town definitely reach out to her for some more information on that project specifically, but definitely a bit ahead of where we're at, so. Anything else? Okay, well, thanks everybody again for joining, we definitely appreciate it, and as I mentioned, we will have all the information available on the village website tomorrow morning. And you are more than welcome to send comments, questions to either myself or Joe, and then we will share those with the village board prior to the meeting next Wednesday. So, thanks everyone so much for coming, we appreciate your attendance tonight. And like I said, we'll have some more information available for you to review if you would like. So, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Brad. Good night.